I refuse. 1 piece is already 20, and now you're still trying to bargain? Melissa snapped, glaring at the man buying native snacks from her in the province. In her hometown, you couldn't afford to be weak. If you acted clueless, someone would surely beat you to it. Fine, I'll take 3, the man muttered, scratching his head. As you should, because they're small, she retorted. Why don't you make them yourself and see if anyone buys from you? Whatever, Melissa, he replied. I'll take 3 and keep your mouth shut. Melissa handed over the snacks. And don't show your face around me ever again, Badong. She rolled her eyes and started packing up her wares. Life was peaceful for Melissa in the province, and the only one living with her was her mother. Melissa and her mother sold various local snacks and other small goods just to make a living. Her father had moved in with another family and become a drunk, offering no help at all. Even Melissa's mother had to work hard for both of them. "Mom, I'm back," Melissa called, carrying a small table and a single chair. "Did we sell everything, especially the suman?" her mother asked, walking toward her. "All good, Mom," Melissa replied. "Oh, by the way, Mrs. Perla wants to order 5 pieces of suman, all chocolate." "Sure, I'll make them later," her mother said. Melissa went to the small room they shared and let out a long sigh, stretching her arms and legs. While she was in the middle of stretching, the keypad on her phone suddenly rang. "Hello, is this Melissa?" a calm voice asked on the other end of the line. "Yes, who's this?" "I'm Don Gerard Morgan. Fernando mentioned that there's a woman in the province with a connection to APUS. "That's my grandfather. He's been gone for a long time. What do you need from me?" Melissa asked, feeling uneasy for no clear reason. "Can you come here to Manila? I'll just give you the address so I can meet you. There's a lot we need to discuss." "Can I trust you?" Melissa said. "There are so many scammers these days. Better be safe." The person on the line laughed gently. "Of course. Didn't Millie mention my name? Right then, let me introduce myself to you in person. I'll wait here at the mansion." Before Melissa could reply, the call ended. She rushed out of her room and found her mother still cooking. "Mum, Grandpa's friend, Mr. Gerard, just called." "Oh?" her mother said in surprise. "What did he say?" She momentarily stopped cooking because of the news. "He wants me to go to Manila," Melissa replied. "He says there's something he wants to tell me. Should I go? I'm scared." "Go for it. Mr. Gerard can be trusted," her mother assured her. "He was good friends with your grandfather. It must be important." She handed Melissa a large piggy bank. "Use this for your trip to Manila." Even though she was puzzled by her mother's behavior, Melissa did as she was told, quickly packing and changing into a nicer outfit. "Mom, I'm leaving now." "Take care. Aren't you even going to let me accompany you? Are you that eager to leave me behind?" "Ouch!" Melissa yelped when a ladle smacked her arm. "I just want you to see Manila," her mother teased. "Go now, while it's still early." Millie rolled her eyes at Melissa. "Before I change my mind and make you tend the store all night." "That's true," Melissa laughed. "All right, I'll go." She lugged a big suitcase, which used to belong to her cousin, out of the house. As Melissa stepped out, everyone watched her, especially her old enemies who spread rumors she'd get pregnant. She shot them a glare before boarding a tricycle. "Mr. Pedro, please take me to Manila," she said. "Who are you going to see there?" he asked. Melissa grinned, flicking her hair smugly. "My wealthy boyfriend." The tricycle jerked to a sudden stop, causing Melissa to bang her face on her bag. "Ouch, Mr. Pedro. Sorry, I was startled," he said. "With that pretty face of yours, who'd want you anyway?" "Wow," Melissa exclaimed. "Are you calling me ugly, Mr. Pedro? That's so mean." He just chuckled as she hopped off and boarded the bus with her belongings. It was cramped, and Melissa ended up bumping into a lot of people. She didn't care if she knocked anyone aside. "Finally, I have a seat," Melissa said with a grin. "Wow, it's so crowded, but thankfully it's cold." "Who are you talking to, miss?" asked the man next to her, giving her a puzzled look. "Myself," Melissa growled. "Mind your business, mister." "It's mind your own business, miss," he corrected her. She just rolled her eyes. "You don't need to know if it's own or not. Just talk to yourself." The bus ride to Manila took hours. Melissa snacked on suman and was amazed by the different buildings she passed. She realized she was in Manila upon seeing all the overhead cables and huge structures. "Is this Manila?" "Yes, miss, this is Manila." "Can I get off here then?" "Yes, just over there." Melissa hopped off, even more impressed by the malls and skyscrapers around her. She glanced at the piece of paper with Don Gerard's address and asked around. People told her to take a taxi, so she quickly did. "Where to, miss?" the driver asked. "Here's the address," she answered, handing him the paper. "That's a bit far. My rate will be higher if we go there. You okay with that?" "That's fine," Melissa said, nodding. "I don't know my way around." The taxi sped off, and Melissa stared out the window. She watched people peddling goods on sidewalks, as well as some dressed to the nines, making her smile. It was her first day in the big city. "We're here," the driver finally announced. "Thank you," Melissa said, handing him 500 pesos. "Is that enough?" "Yes, that'll do," he answered. "Just walk straight into that big subdivision. There's only one owner anyway. At the very end is a huge mansion across from the playground." Melissa hopped out with her luggage and briskly walked toward the home of her grandfather's friend, Mr. Gerard. She gaped at the size of the mansion. She never knew her family had such a wealthy friend. "Who are you?" asked a maid in a blue uniform. "I'm Melissa. I was told to come by Don Gerard." "Oh, come on in," the maid said pleasantly. Stepping through the large gate, Melissa marveled again at the gorgeous garden and turned her head to see a spacious garage housing multiple cars. "Mr. Gerard is still in the library. He's been waiting for you." "Really?" Melissa replied. She followed the maid inside and was in awe of the home's colors and furnishings. "Where's the library?" "Just follow me, ma'am," the maid said. Melissa nodded and went upstairs. She couldn't help but admire every painting, room, and piece of furniture along the way. "This is it, ma'am," the maid finally said. "Thank you," Melissa replied, swallowing nervously. "Is Mr. Gerard scary?" "Not at all. He's very kind," the maid assured her. Melissa nodded, then carefully knocked before entering. The library was large, but Melissa's eyes were instantly drawn to a desk where Don Gerard was reading. "Good noon, my dear." He set aside the newspaper and smiled. "I've been waiting for you." He gestured to the chair in front of him. "Please sit. I know you had a long trip coming here. Have you eaten?" "Not yet, but I'm still full," she replied, feeling a touch more comfortable. "I'm surprised Grandpa had a rich friend. He never mentioned you. He passed away early, so maybe he didn't get the chance." "I suspect that's why," Don Gerard said, "though I do recall meeting you a long time ago, so maybe you've just forgotten." Melissa nodded. The maid came in with juice and a piece of bread. Melissa quickly took the juice and gulped it down. "So, sir, what do we need to talk about?" she asked, noticing that Don Gerard was smiling at her. "Ah, sorry, I was so thirsty," Melissa added. "It's all right," he said, shaking his head and rising from his chair. "I've been holding on to a letter for a while. Your grandfather gave it to me, to pass on to you. You see, there's something you need to do." He handed her a letter, along with a photo showing Melissa and Fernando, both smiling. Tears gathered at the corners of Melissa's eyes as she touched the picture. My grandpa, she whispered, her voice trembling. A tear fell onto her cheek. I miss him so much. I miss him too, Don Gerard said with a small smile, placing the photo down. Here's the letter he asked me to give you. Melissa looked at the envelope, took it, and read its contents. She froze upon seeing a mention of marriage to my friend Garrow's child, and that the family business Grandpa had left behind must be maintained. That was Grandpa's only legacy. My grandson also said, Don Gerard admitted, hesitating, that he wanted to marry you someday. What? Melissa exclaimed, her tears abruptly stopping. Who is your grandson? Before they could say more, someone walked into the library. Grandpa, said a cold baritone voice. Keith! Don Gerard beamed. I'm glad you're here. Melissa turned and froze, as if she'd turned to stone. The tall young man had mesmerizing chocolate-brown eyes, a defined nose, and strikingly red lips. Who are you? He snarled angrily. Me? I'm Melissa, she answered timidly. Why do you want to know? Keith shot back with a raised eyebrow. His voice was menacing. Keith! Don Gerard scolded. Show some respect to your wife. Wife? Keith let out a mocking laugh. Oh, you must mean this girl from the countryside, right, Grandpa? Melissa bit her lip and lowered her head. She was normally timid in confrontations, but this was too much. So what if I'm from the province? She snapped. Is this the man Grandpa mentioned in the letter, the one I'm supposed to marry? What? Keith growled, furrowing his brow. I don't want to be married to that man, Melissa declared. Aside from his awful attitude, he's got a foul mouth. She glanced up at Keith, annoyed. She had to admit he was handsome, but he reeked of disrespect. Don Gerard shook his head, remembering how these two argued a lot when they were kids. Clearing his throat, he spoke up. Your grandfather and I agreed that you would marry as soon as possible. He laid out an agreement bearing his and Fernando's signatures. Now that you're both in front of me, you'll sign, and you won't have a choice but to live under the same roof, here in my house. Grandpa, I have a girlfriend, Keith protested. You know I love her. I don't care, just sign, Don Gerard replied. Melissa glanced at Keith, feeling a pang of sympathy. But what could they do? It was her grandfather's dying wish. Slowly, she picked up the pen and signed. You really signed it? Keith barked, raking his fingers through his chocolate-brown hair. Fine, go fulfill your grandfather's promise. It's not my problem if I already have a girlfriend, because I won't let you meddle. Melissa stayed calm. I'm serious about Grandpa's promise. Whether or not you have a girlfriend isn't my concern, she said, heading out of the library with her grandfather's photo. She took a deep breath and remained outside until she heard a door slam and felt someone yank her arm. What do you want? Why are you here? Keith demanded, fuming. Ow, you're hurting me, she cried, wrenching her arm free. Didn't I say I just want to fulfill Grandpa's promise to your grandpa? If you don't like it, there's nothing I can do. I really don't, Keith snarled, clenching his jaw. If you want money, fine. I'll give you some so you can leave this house. He whipped out his wallet and took out a wad of bills. Money is all you want from us, right? Take it. Melissa trembled, tears welling in her eyes. You have such a horrible attitude, she whispered. I don't need your money. She turned and ran off, tears spilling down her cheeks. Days passed, and Melissa stayed in the Morgans' home. Don Gerard treated her like family, but Keith treated her like an enemy, harboring some unspoken grudge. They couldn't get along. You'll sleep in the old room? I don't want to share one with you. I don't want to share one with you either, Melissa retorted, her nose and eyes still red from crying. Where is this room, anyway? I'll go there. Why don't you find it yourself? Keith said with a smirk. Do you really think I'd tell you where it is? What is wrong with you? Melissa shot back. You're so mean, Keith. He shrugged. Go ahead, but you'll be stuck with me for months. Grandpa might be nice, but I'm not, he muttered, leaning close so only Melissa could hear. I'll make you suffer in my house. Talk to yourself if you want a friend. Melissa had no idea which direction to take. She also wondered why she wasn't given one of the nicer rooms. Wasn't that what married couples were supposed to do? Shaking her head, she arrived at the hallway's end. Looking back, she saw she was far from Keith's room. She opened the door and recoiled at the dust inside. Covering her nose, she surveyed the old space. Just a foam mattress, a cabinet, and a small veranda. Well, okay, she said. I'll just clean it. Sighing, she got to work. Once done, she stepped out, fanning herself. She wore just a tank top and short shorts, her hair tied in a ponytail. Hey, came Keith's voice, making her look up. What did you do to be this sweaty? What else? Melissa shot back. I cleaned my room. Keith laughed mockingly. Did you have fun cleaning such a dusty old place? Yeah, I did, she replied with a grin. So anyway, Keith said, I want you to know you're not allowed to leave, or to introduce yourself to anyone as my wife. He cringed at the word. I have a girlfriend. Nobody else can find out I'm technically married to you, especially when you're wearing that ring. Melissa glanced down at her ring. Why aren't you wearing yours? She asked. For your information, married couples don't have to wear rings. Keith sneered. Stop your fairy tale nonsense. I'm not your husband, and I don't want to be. I love my girlfriend. He flashed a different ring. I don't need matching rings for something that isn't real. Melissa fell silent. Her heart ached, but she merely nodded and forced a small smile. So that's how it is. Fine, you can leave now. Keith hesitated, apparently stunned by her reaction. Stupid, he murmured, turning away. Melissa re-entered the room and glared at the ring on her finger. Despite everything, she vowed not to remove it. Taking it off meant turning her back on Grandpa's promise. I'd like to buy some stuff, she told herself. I want to get out of here. She changed into jeans, a simple t-shirt, and old rubber shoes, tied her hair up and left, wandering around the mansion. This place is overwhelming, she muttered. How do they ever find their own rooms? She looked for a staircase and finally found it, quickly heading down while memorizing her path to avoid getting lost again. Where are you going, child? A voice asked, startling her. It was Don Gerard. Ah, nowhere, she fibbed. I just feel like walking around. He chuckled softly. Would you like the driver to take you somewhere? You're new to Manila, and I'm worried. No thanks, sir. I can manage myself, Melissa said kindly. I just want to get some fresh air here in the city. Are you sure? He asked, concerned. Melissa nodded and hurried outside. She walked through the subdivision, barely noticing other passers-by. She was too fascinated by the row of houses and the kids playing in the streets. This was a big subdivision, and the Morgans lived at the very end. Melissa was so distracted that she didn't see the car approaching. Ow! She cried out as she fell, her arm slamming into the vehicle. Oh my God, miss! A woman shouted, running to Melissa. Are you okay? You look like you're hurt. Melissa frowned. Do I look all right to you? I'm sorry, the woman said softly. Let's get you up. She helped Melissa onto the hood of the car, examining her arm. What were you doing, standing in the middle of the road? I was watching the kids, admiring the houses, Melissa muttered, rubbing her sore arm. Next time, watch where you walk, the woman said gently. Cars pass by here all the time. She eyed Melissa anxiously. I'm Ashley. Melissa, she replied, glancing toward the distance. She recognized Keith heading their way. Melissa was about to smile and wave when she heard Ashley call him Babe. Babe, Keith! Ashley beamed, hugging him. I'm glad you came to pick me up. Of course, Keith said, until he spotted Melissa. What are you doing here? He snapped. Babe, she got hit by my car earlier, Ashley explained. I felt bad about leaving her, so I was late. Ashley grabbed Keith's arm. Do you two know each other? Yeah, she's our maid, Keith lied, glaring at Melissa. There's nothing to worry about with her. She's used to getting hurt. Come on, let's go. Grandpa's been looking for you, Keith added to Ashley. Left behind, Melissa watched as they climbed into the car. Before Ashley could say anything, Keith cupped her cheek and kissed her. Melissa took a deep breath. Wow, so that's what it feels like, she whispered, forcing a laugh. Gathering her things, she walked away. That evening, Melissa stayed in her room, unsure how to feel about Keith's behavior. This wasn't the marriage life she'd hoped for. What is it? She growled, hearing loud bangs on the door. She opened it to find Keith, fuming. What's your problem? He demanded. Didn't I say you're not allowed to leave this mansion or be seen by anyone? I'm not a prisoner here, Melissa retorted, her brow furrowing. Why are you so mad? I didn't mean to see your girlfriend. That's the point. I don't want my girlfriend finding out about this sham of a marriage, Keith spat, running his hand through his hair in frustration. And stop getting close to Ashley or telling her you're my wife. Doesn't it disgust you? Melissa was too hurt to speak. She couldn't figure out her own feelings. It's not my fault I got hit by her car, she said under her breath. I didn't even know she was your girlfriend. Just stay away from us, Keith warned. When dinner came, Melissa slipped out of her room. She took a deep breath and made her way downstairs. She noticed Ashley was still there, so she quietly moved to stand near one of the housemaids. Ma'am, you're supposed to join them. Shh, I don't want to disturb them, Melissa said with a small smile. They look happy together, and it would be awkward if I showed up. Suddenly, Melissa overheard talk of a fashion show the next day. Her ears perked up because she had an interest in fashion and was skilled in sewing. Excitement bubbled up inside her. Melissa? Don Gerard's voice caught her off guard. She looked at him in surprise. Yes, sir? Why are you standing there? He asked with a furrowed brow. You ought to be here with us. The maid blinked nervously, but Melissa widened her eyes at Don Gerard, trying to think of an excuse. Do you need juice or water, sir? He simply turned serious. Glancing at Keith, then at Melissa, he said, You'll be coming with us to the fashion show tomorrow. I'll have clothes prepared for you. Grandpa, Keith interjected with a laugh, she doesn't belong at tomorrow's show. She knows nothing about it, right, Melissa? Unsure what to say, Melissa glanced from Keith to Don Gerard. She actually wanted to go. She's going with us, Don Gerard declared. That's final. The following day, by afternoon, Melissa was handed a red bodycon dress, which made her jaw drop. Along with it came modest heels, jewelry, and other accessories. Ma'am, someone called from the door, we're here to get you ready. Those were our instructions from Mr. Gerard. All right, Melissa said softly, but could you keep it simple? Of course, ma'am. We'll take care of everything, the stylists replied. They worked on her hair and makeup. By the time they finished, Melissa barely recognized herself. Oh my gosh, I'm so pretty, she exclaimed, squealing. Wow, I'm gorgeous, the makeup artists giggled. We need to get going, or we'll all be late, they teased. Melissa carefully descended, still not used to wearing heels, but she managed. She rode with the stylists, who said Don Gerard and Keith, along with his girlfriend, had gone on ahead. Arriving at the venue, she was amazed at the large crowd. Let's go, said one of the stylists to the driver, Kurt. He's Mr. Gerard's secretary. He'll guide you in. Following Kurt inside, they found seats reserved for them. Melissa sat down, watching the models on the runway. She clapped after each entrance and commented on every design. "Oh, wait, I need the restroom," Melissa said, wiggling in her seat. "I've had to go for a while now. Where is it?" "Back there, Mom. Would you like me to accompany?" No, just point the way," Melissa said, flushing in embarrassment. Kurt showed her the direction, so she headed backstage. She glimpsed models checking their outfits, some touching up their makeup in front of mirrors. "Oh no, why is Ashley's dress ruined? What are we going to do? Sabotage, maybe. Nobody else came in but us," Melissa heard a frantic voice say. "She's next, right after swimwear." Melissa crept closer, spotting a formal gown with a ripped sleeve and a torn skirt, as if someone had deliberately done it. "Guys, please," Ashley's voice wobbled. "I don't want to embarrass myself in front of Keith and Grandpa Gerard. Is nobody here good at mending dresses? Check the CCVV or something. I need to fix this ASAP." Melissa studied the dress on a mannequin. "Hey, I know how to sew," she offered quietly, "but we'll have to alter the design." "Are you sure you can handle it?" one of Ashley's companions asked skeptically. "We're not joking around here. Ashley is literally next." "Let her," Ashley said, suddenly noticing Melissa. "I trust her." Melissa was taken aback by Ashley's calm smile. She sighed, sat down on the floor, and got to work, drawing a modified pattern. "Keith, what's going on? Are you okay, babe?" Ashley asked as Keith appeared, worried. "Someone sabotaged my dress. Thank goodness she's here to fix it." Ignoring the chatter, Melissa sketched a one-shoulder balloon gown. She snipped away unneeded fabric, asked for white thread, and quickly pieced it together. Hours later, Melissa finally stood up, smiling, but that smile faded when she spotted Keith. "Melissa," Keith said in surprise. "Yes, babe," Ashley answered for her. "She helped me with my dress." Ashley approached Melissa, wrapping her in a hug. "Thank you, Melissa. I owe you one." A few days after the fashion show, everything seemed to be going well for Melissa. For reasons she didn't fully understand, Keith had started being kind to her. Perhaps he'd realized it was wrong to mistreat her. Melissa shook her head, sipping her morning coffee downstairs. "Mum, I have so many stories to tell you," she said over the phone, "but I think I'll just enjoy what's happening for now." "It's up to you, Melissa," her mother replied, "but if he ever hurts you, come home, or I'll fetch you myself." Melissa giggled. "We're doing okay, Mom. I hope it continues." "Why do you sound giddy?" her mom teased. "I'm not," Melissa insisted, laughing. "Don't be silly, Mom. Anyway, I'm done eating, so I'll hang up." Still smiling, Melissa got up while the housemaid cleared the table. She walked outside to wait for Keith, who said he had something for her. She settled into a wooden swing overlooking the beautiful garden. When Keith's car arrived, Melissa jumped up excitedly. Sure enough, Keith stepped out, holding a small cage for dogs. "What's that? Is it for me?" she asked, thrilled. "Yup," Keith replied. "I bought them so you won't get lonely in this house. Want to see?" "Yes!" Melissa exclaimed, practically bouncing. Keith opened the cage, revealing a cute little puppy. "What breed is this? It's adorable," Melissa gushed. "A Pomeranian," Keith answered curtly. "You can name them whatever you want." "I'll think about it," Melissa said happily. Unable to stop herself, she hugged Keith. "Thank you. I haven't felt this happy in a long time. I'll take good care of them." "Okay, that's enough awkwardness," Keith joked. "They can roam the mansion as they like. We'll find them if they wander off." Anyway, about the business, they'd decided Melissa should speak with Don Gerard. Keith had thought about the company left behind by Melissa's grandfather, so this was what they'd discuss. "Later, I'll talk to Mr. Gerard," Melissa said. "I already know what to say, As long as you're nice to me, it'll be easy. Keith grinned. Sure, the business side is something we need to discuss. Moments later, Melissa found herself at the library door. Keith let her go inside to talk privately with Don Gerard. She knocked, then opened the door. Good afternoon, sir. Oh, my dear, what brings you here? I'd like to talk about not leaving, Melissa replied hesitantly, glancing at Don Gerard. I've decided not to leave anymore. I'll stay here at the mansion. Really? Don Gerard asked, standing in surprise. That's wonderful. What made you change your mind? Melissa blushed, fiddling with her fingers. Keith and I talked. We're going to fix our marriage, she said quietly. And about the business. Yes, Don Gerard said, his voice filling with happiness. I've decided I'm willing to be the designer for the company you and Grandpa left, Melissa explained. Really? He exclaimed. You've made up your mind? Yes, sir, Melissa answered. Keith and I discussed it. I'm sure of my decision. Are you certain it's your decision and not his? Don Gerard asked, a bit suspicious. You really want to do this? Melissa nodded firmly. I'm sure. I want to honor Grandpa's promise and care for what he left behind. That's wonderful, Don Gerard said, nodding. He would be overjoyed. He sighed in relief. All right, then. I'll start arranging an office for you at the company. Thank you, my dear. That night, Melissa was in her room, reading documents Keith had asked her to review. She heard a knock halfway through and hurried to answer it. Standing there was the ever-handsome Keith, clad in a black polo and grey pants, hair neatly styled. Let's go on a date, he said. Melissa blinked in surprise. Date? Yes, he repeated, a small smile on his face. I just want some alone time with you. But I'm confused. A few days ago you hated me, and now you want to date me? She arched an eyebrow. He chuckled. You're my wife. My wife deserves a date. Melissa's cheeks burned. She couldn't answer. Get ready, wife, Keith teased. I'll wait downstairs, okay? Melissa shut the door, her heart racing. He called me his wife, she squealed. He used to despise me like I was some disease, and now he wants to go on a date. She faced the mirror, giggling. Who could resist my charm? She teased herself, quickly changing into a nice outfit. After a few minutes, she emerged in a red maxi dress and hurried downstairs. Keith, who had been fidgeting on the sofa, stood up the instant he saw her. So, Melissa asked, smiling, am I beautiful? Yes, Keith answered, letting out a breathy laugh. Let's go? She beamed back. Sure. They got into Keith's car. It was Melissa's first time riding with him, and she was struck by how clean and fragrant it was. Where are we eating? She asked, curiosity piqued. I'll take you to my favorite restaurant. Okay, Melissa said, excitement obvious in her voice. I'm just so happy. We're not fighting anymore and everything feels better. It's great you're not mad at me these days. People change, Keith murmured. Midway through the drive, his phone rang. Melissa saw the caller ID. Ashley. She whispered, Ashley. Just ignore her, Keith said, coolly, shocking Melissa. You're more important right now. Melissa swallowed hard, looking at Keith's phone. Should she be happy? Should Melissa be selfish now? She swallowed hard and exhaled. Okay, let's just be happy tonight, she thought, even though her mind said otherwise. Weeks passed, and Keith was the same toward her. They hardly fought anymore, and sometimes Keith would bring Melissa wherever he went. Melissa even joined family gatherings more frequently, and Ashley was rarely seen these days. That design, could you make it for me? Keith asked. Yes, of course, Melissa answered brightly. It's just a formal dress, right? For whom? For Mum, Keith replied. Melissa smiled even more. Do you have her measurements? Waist, arms, chest, and all that? This can't be done out of thin air, you know. Don't overcomplicate it. I need it tonight, Keith insisted, frowning. Melissa stopped, looking at the piles of work on her desk. The table was loaded, and Keith was typing on his laptop while eating. Melissa sighed. From what she'd read, being a design manager was supposed to be a lot of work. Ah, I have so much sewing to do, she said. You mentioned a big event next month, right? I was thinking maybe we could… I want it today, Melissa. I still haven't gotten your designs for what's next, Keith cut in. I already gave you a deadline, remember? Don't you have anything to do? Are you not going to help me here? Melissa felt uneasy, but kept it to herself. Keith was usually nice to her. If she ever asked for something, he granted it. Aren't you going to help me get these started? She asked in a small voice. I have a lot on my plate. I need to go with Grandpa later, Keith replied. Then I'm the only one left here. Melissa was in the office that belonged to her late grandfather Ferdinand and Don Gerard. Yes, Keith replied. I'll come back for you later, okay? He flashed a quick smile and gently kissed Melissa on the forehead. Melissa's cheeks flushed, and after a moment she nodded. She sighed again, watching Keith fix his hair. I'll see you later, he said, dangling his car keys. All right, she answered with a smile. Now alone, Melissa reminded herself how important her job was. She no longer returned to the province, since Keith wouldn't allow it. They'd produced numerous designs together. At every event, Melissa was there, even if sometimes she felt she was just tagging along because Keith's attitude made her feel unimportant. She chose to brush that aside and just followed his instructions. Ma'am, here's your coffee, came a voice. Oh, thank you. Perfect timing. I really need this, Melissa replied, accepting the cup. You've got so much to do, said Keith's secretary with a grin. Your husband left these here for you since he has other matters to attend to. Husband, the secretary repeated, furrowing her brows. Mr. Keith has a wife? All we know is that Ms. Ashley is Mr. Keith's girlfriend. Melissa froze, a strange pain gripping her heart. No one here at the office knew her, and everyone only recognized Ashley as Keith's girlfriend. Oh, well, I'm Keith's wife, Melissa couldn't help blurting out, showing the secretary her wedding ring. We've been married for months. Huh? How did that happen, Ma'am? Mr. Keith has only had one woman, Ms. Ashley. The secretary even laughed, but Melissa's stare remained serious. Ma'am, I'll go now, the secretary stammered, hurrying away. I have things to do. Melissa was left standing there, tears silently rolling down her cheeks. She gripped the table as she cried, feeling like such a fool. She'd forgotten Keith's warning that she wasn't allowed to say they were married. It hurts, Melissa whispered between sobs. I already love Keith, and I'm ready to be loved by him. But why is it like this? In the middle of her crying, the door opened. Melissa glanced up to see Ashley, eyes burning with anger, though her face was calm as she approached. Ashley? What are you doing here? Melissa asked in surprise. Let's talk, Ashley answered with a cold, measured voice. I just found out you and Keith have been living under the same roof. Isn't that why he never introduced me to you? Because you're actually his wife? Melissa shook her head, but Ashley's palm slapped her face hard. So that's why Keith isn't visiting me anymore, Ashley cried. Why he rarely answers my calls. Because you're keeping him away from me. You're wrong, Melissa choked out. Keith loves you. I'm only here to fulfill the promise my grandfather made. Liar, Ashley yelled. That's why, the first time I saw you, I got a strange feeling. I was so nice to you because I thought you were Keith's maid, or just his assistant, but I was wrong. Ashley's tears fell. You two fooled me. I'm disgusted with both of you, especially you, Melissa, for just showing up in our lives. You're mistaken, Melissa insisted, stepping forward and gently placing a hand on Ashley's arm. Keith loves you so much. Melissa swallowed, her voice trembling. I know he has a girlfriend, and that he loves you. That's why I— Let me go, Ashley roared, pushing Melissa so hard that both of them toppled over. Melissa inadvertently pulled Ashley down with her. Ouch! Ashley yelped. Suddenly, someone roughly shoved Melissa away. She looked up and froze. Keith stood there, rage etched on his face. What did you do? He snapped at Melissa. I didn't do anything, she cried. If you lay a hand on Ashley, you have no idea what I'll do to you, Keith snarled. I'm tired of being around you. I'm tired of pretending. Melissa stood there in shock, staring at Keith holding Ashley. His eyes burned with anger, and his arms shook. What did you say? She whispered, feeling weak. I was just using you, Keith said coldly. I only used you to get control of the company, so our business could thrive. That's all you were to me. It felt like her heart was being stabbed 1,000 times. Melissa didn't want to believe it, shaking her head in denial. But what about everything you gave me? The way you treated me? Was that all an act? Melissa's tears fell freely. Do you really think I could accept you as my wife, or stomach sharing a home with you? Keith glowered. The moment you laid hands on Ashley, I knew it was time to tell you the truth. She broke up with me because of you. Melissa couldn't speak. Ashley herself was shocked, gazing at Keith. So that's why you said I ruined your life when you were drunk, Melissa recalled, her voice quivering. They were right. You're easily duped, Keith said icily. That's how I tricked you, and everyone else knows it too. Without another word, Melissa bolted from the room, overwhelmed with shame. She cried in the elevator, replaying Keith's words again and again. Once back in her old room, she rushed to pack her things, sobbing uncontrollably. She felt utterly lost and didn't know where to begin. My child, came a voice near the door. Melissa turned to see Don Gerard, wide-eyed with concern. Why are you here in the old bedroom? I thought you and Keith shared a room. What happened? Why are you crying? He fired off one question after another. I'm leaving, Melissa said, the only explanation she could manage. I don't want to stay here anymore. I take back what I said. I'm done. What happened? Did you fight with Keith? Don Gerard asked, more alarmed. We can talk about this. I can't let you go so easily. I promised your grandfather I'd look after you. But Melissa only shook her head, tears still flowing as she finished packing. She wiped her cheeks and stared at Don Gerard. Your grandson was right, she said, with a bitter laugh. I really am gullible. He's a brilliant actor, making me believe we were doing well, like he really cared about me. Her knees trembled as she fought to remain standing. It hurts so much to love your grandson, she whispered. Don Gerard stiffened, feeling a twinge in his chest at her words. She continued speaking. He only used me, Grandpa, but it's fine, because I'm so gullible. I trusted Keith, trusted your grandson, because he made me feel special and pretty. Melissa, Don Gerard walked toward her and enveloped her in a hug. I didn't realize Keith had treated you like that. Melissa shook her head. Keith can be kind, Grandpa, but I have to leave. It hurts too much. She pointed to her chest. Right here. It hurts terribly. Don Gerard nodded, deciding he had to tell Keith the truth. A long time ago, Keith had promised to someday marry Melissa. He'd planned to find her. I'll let you go, Don Gerard said softly, but I hope that if the time comes, you can still accept him. I don't know, Grandpa. I really don't, Melissa answered, but thank you for everything. A few minutes later, Don Gerard accompanied Melissa downstairs, where she held her small bag and the necklace from her childhood friend. She stopped upon seeing Keith waiting at the bottom of the stairs, as if anticipating her. "Oh, so you're leaving," Keith said with a smirk. "Looks like you need money." "Keith!" Don Gerard roared. "Show some respect." "That's what she wants, right, Grandpa? Our money?" Keith asked. Melissa clutched her necklace. Keith glanced down at her chest, then locked eyes with her. "What's that?" he asked. Melissa gave him a faint smile. "I realized something important. I really did love you, Keith. I loved you with all my soft heart," she said quietly, stepping back. "I love you, Keith." A few weeks passed. Melissa's days revolved around making a living again. She'd gone home to the province and couldn't help thinking about Keith. There were moments she wondered whether he missed her or looked for her presence. "Hey, Melissa, our suman's about to burn," her mother, Millie, shouted. Melissa dashed to the pot and jumped back when she accidentally touched its scalding lid. "Ow!" "I'll do it," Millie insisted, nudging her aside and grabbing a rag. "What's going on with you? You're always daydreaming." Melissa pouted. "I just have so much on my mind, Mom." Millie frowned. "Is it about Keith again? Stop it. If he really feels anything for you, he'll come here. How many weeks has it been since you left?" Tears pricked Melissa's eyes, but she blinked them back. It still hurt, but she couldn't stop hoping Keith would show up and finally put her first. "Melissa," her mom said gently, "if someone truly loves you, that person will come to you." "I know that boy. His pride's tougher than a concrete wall." Millie laughed. "I recall how he wanted to marry you before, even back when you looked so awful." "Mom, that's mean," Melissa complained, sulking. "So it's true. He's the one I played with then? The one I saw by accident at the park? The one I saved?" "Yes, ages ago," Millie replied. "He probably doesn't remember you. He's had so many women in his life since then. He probably doesn't love you anymore." "Mom," Melissa mumbled, stamping her foot. "Go on," Millie said. "Go sell. Maybe it'll ease your heartache." "Okay," Melissa sighed. She grabbed a tray and filled it with suman, heading out again. She tried not to think of Keith and went around selling for hours, anywhere she could. "You look like you'll be done early," some old gossiping women teased her. "How's life in Manila, and where's your boyfriend?" "Don't ask," Melissa grunted. "Oh, did he break up with you because you talk too much?" The women cackled. "No," Melissa snapped, feeling annoyed. "He's working abroad, so I got bored and came here to the province." "Uh-huh, sure," they retorted. "Maybe you never had a boyfriend at all." Melissa arched an eyebrow. "I'll show him to you tomorrow. Now leave me alone, you busybodies." After more hours of selling, night fell. Melissa walked home. She stopped in her tracks when she saw someone sitting on their little wooden bench, someone she never expected to see that evening. It was Keith. "Melissa," he said quietly. She stared, her heart pounding, but her expression stayed cold. "What are you doing here?" she asked. She couldn't reveal how much she'd missed him. "Why are you here? Can we talk?" "No," she answered, stepping into the house. Keith followed. "Why are you soaking wet? Did it rain?" Melissa asked in a flat tone. "It's just sweat," Keith admitted with a ragged sigh. "Please, can we talk? I want to understand what Grandpa told me." "Which part?" Melissa turned and leaned against the wall. She fixed her gaze on Keith, who was standing in front of her. "You realize there's nothing for us to discuss. You, yourself, said the only thing I want from your family is money, right?" She noticed Keith swallow hard, lowering his eyes. Melissa handed him a glass of juice. He accepted it, clearly parched from waiting. "That's why I'm curious," she continued. "Unless you're after our house too." "Could you just listen to me?" Keith said, frustrated. "All right," she replied with a shrug. Keith pulled out 2 half-moon pendants, along with a letter and some photos. Melissa's heart pounded upon seeing them. "Grandpa showed me these," Keith said, quietly. "He told me everything. You're that girl I wanted to marry someday, the one who saved me at the park. I was stupid not to notice your necklace right away." Melissa silently reminded herself not to be swayed by simple apologies. She needed to know which Keith stood before her. "So what if I am that girl, Keith?" she asked. "I'm sorry," he said, meeting her eyes. "I'm sorry, Melissa. I never meant to speak to you that way." "You've already done it," Melissa whispered. "You hurt me. Why are you apologizing now?" Keith swallowed again. "I know I did wrong, Melissa. I know everything I said was too harsh. When I found out you'd be the future CEO, I panicked. I was afraid I'd lose everything, so I used you. I used your designs to gain an advantage." Melissa said nothing. It still hurt, but her feelings for Keith were huge, so she was willing to hear him out. "I even tried to steal your designs," Keith admitted. "I did all sorts of things to make you agree to be our design team's lead. Sent you flowers, bought you dogs, so you'd trust me." He sighed. "And because I didn't want you surpassing me, I dragged you down. I hurt you, Melissa." Melissa licked her lips, swallowing. "I'm not sure how to handle you now that you're here," she said. "It's been weeks since I left, and I promised myself I wouldn't be a fool for you again." "I know I messed up, but let me make it up to you," Keith pleaded. "I'll apologize for everything." He set the 2 pendants in front of her. "I'm giving you these, and I'll only take them back when you've forgiven me." "Forgiveness isn't that simple," Melissa told him, feeling tears gather. "Once trust is broken, Keith, you hurt me. I loved you. I still love you. Yet all I got was lies." Keith's heart raced at her words. He'd believed he felt true love for Ashley, but Melissa's love cut deeper than anything he'd known. "I'm aware," he said. "That's why I came here, to set things right between us. Grandpa did tell me to do that, but—" "Are you only doing this because I'm gullible?" Melissa interrupted. She saw the embarrassment flicker on Keith's face, oddly making her feel a bit smug. "Are you doing it because you know I'll give in again? That one apology will send me falling into your arms?" Keith shook his head and stepped closer, nearly closing the distance between them. "I'm sorry. I'll do anything to earn your forgiveness, anything to make us okay again." "What about Ashley?" Melissa forced herself to ask, even though she hated bringing it up. She needed to know. "We ended it weeks ago," Keith replied. Melissa gasped softly. She saw the crease in his brow, sensing it hurt him too. "You didn't need to end it with her just because I'm here," she said. "Don't you realize that if you're not careful, you'll hurt her more?" Keith studied her face. "All I know is that continuing my relationship with Ashley would hurt her even more. And now that I remember everything, I want to learn how to love you, Melissa." She inhaled, looking away. "I'm selfish, Keith," she said firmly. "You need to forget everything for me, everything about Ashley, if you really want this relationship. You have to let her go." She wanted to test him, to see what he'd say. "I'll do it," Keith agreed boldly. "I'll do whatever you want." Melissa was surprised. Right then, her mother, Millie, arrived. Melissa's eyes went wide, and she quickly shoved Keith aside. "Mum," Melissa said in a serious tone. "Oh, did I interrupt something?" Millie teased, clearly amused. "Do you two want some space?" "No," Melissa exclaimed, flustered. "We're done talking. He can leave now, right?" "You're crazy. It's late," Millie scolded. "He can sleep on the bamboo chair outside if he wants to stay." "Is that okay?" Melissa teased. "It's fine," Keith answered, swallowing. "For Melissa, I'll do it." He smiled shyly. "I'll manage out there, Aunt Millie." Melissa retreated to her room and lay on the small bed, unable to relax. She kept thinking about Keith as outside on that cramped bamboo seat. "I can't sleep," she muttered, rising to grab another blanket. She stepped out and saw Keith, who clearly didn't fit. She stared, feeling a hint of pity. "Oh dear," she whispered, carefully laying the blanket over him. "You're so handsome, Keith," she added, with a soft smile. I hope we can fix things." She pressed a light kiss to his forehead and smiled to herself. The next morning, Melissa woke up closer to noon, rubbing her eyes before stepping out of her room. She realized no one else seemed to be around. She glanced into the kitchen, spotting her mother cooking with a cheery expression. "Mum, where's Keith?" was the first thing out of Melissa's mouth. "Oh, you're looking for him so early?" Millie teased. "He went to the market to sell suman and our other treats." "What?" Melissa practically screamed, making Millie cover her ears. "Melissa, calm down," Millie said. "He insisted on selling, so I stayed here to cook. And guess what? We've earned quite a lot this morning." Melissa buried her face in her hands. Worried that Keith might get into trouble since he didn't know anyone here, she quickly changed clothes and combed her hair. "He's been there for a couple of hours already," Millie mentioned. "Mum, you shouldn't have let him sleep on that bamboo seat," Melissa grumbled. Millie raised an eyebrow. "I don't know about you." Melissa just rolled her eyes, grabbed an umbrella, and marched out. "If he ends up tanned or sunburned, it'll be our fault," she muttered. She walked briskly toward the market, scanning left and right for Keith. She noticed the crowd was bigger than usual. People were whispering about some handsome newcomer with a great smile and a buff physique. Melissa's ears pricked, and she made her way to a throng of onlookers. There she saw Keith selling, dressed in a black tank top and pants, his necklace plainly visible. Melissa pressed a hand to her chest. "Keith!" she shouted. "Why are you selling here?" "Sorry, everyone, my wife's here," Keith announced with a grin. Melissa didn't quite catch it, but she felt the crowd's stares on her. She ignored them and grabbed Keith's arm. "You shouldn't be selling. It's dangerous for you here," she hissed. "I'm fine," Keith said, "and they're nice." "They're nice because you're good-looking," Melissa snapped. "Pick up your stuff. You're done selling. I'll do it." Keith noticed her scowl and simply nodded. They gathered everything and walked away from the marketplace. Melissa popped open the umbrella, but since Keith was taller, it only covered her. "Let me," Keith said, taking it from her. "Grandpa texted me earlier. He asked when he could see you. I told him I'd bring you once I convinced you to come along, so—" "I'm not going," Melissa cut in, then sighed as she realized they were talking about Don Gerard. "I'll think about it." They spent the rest of the day selling in a nearby town. Melissa made good money, thanks to Keith's enthusiastic hawking. "No hugging," Melissa warned when a local tried to embrace Keith. "Mrs. says no," Keith joked, though he kept the last part to himself. "Aren't you tired yet?" Melissa asked, frowning. "Not when I'm with you," Keith answered, making her fold her arms. "Just hurry so we can go home." Keith sighed. Melissa noticed and fell silent. She recalled how her mother said Keith was impatient and proud, and he really did get irritated by the smallest things. Melissa gulped, reached for a chair, but Keith took it first. "I've got it," he said, voice cold as ice. "Let's just go back to the house if you're tired." "I'm worried about you," Melissa responded softly. "All right, let's go eat at home," Keith said. While they walked, someone suddenly yanked the bag of money from Melissa's hand. She fell over, gasping at the force. Fear buzzed through her mind. She knew the locals could be dangerous if they wanted. Keith dashed forward before she could stop him. "Keith!" Melissa yelled. She found him sprawled on the ground, clutching the bag. "Oh my God!" She ran over. "Are you okay? Are you hurt? Why did you chase them? Yes, the money is important, but I know it's important for you and Aunt Millie, Keith groaned, grimacing. But don't you realize some people here aren't as safe as in the city? Melissa scolded. Tears gathered in her eyes. What if they had a knife? You could have been seriously hurt. Melissa, Keith whispered weakly. Seeing how he struggled made her panic. I want to go back to the mansion, he managed. Call a private doctor. My side hurts. Melissa felt tears slip down her cheeks. I told you this would happen. She pulled out her phone and dialed Don Gerard. Grandpa Gerard? Yes, child? It's Keith, she sobbed. He's been hurt. Please help. I'll send a car, Don Gerard answered calmly. Stay put. Melissa clasped Keith's hand as he lay his head on her lap. Please hurry, Grandpa. I don't want to lose Keith. They waited a couple of hours before a van arrived. Melissa climbed in beside an unconscious Keith, hugging him desperately. Hurry, she shouted. Keith, do I love you? You can't leave me, she cried, pressing on his bleeding side. You can't leave me. The entire ride, Melissa wept, only saying Keith's name over and over. When they reached the mansion, she leapt out, following Don Gerard's men as they carried Keith inside. Come on, dear, Don Gerard said. Grandpa, how can you be so calm? Keith is fighting for his life. Do you want him gone just because he can be mean sometimes? I don't. I love your grandson, Melissa exclaimed, sobbing. I only said he annoyed me because he does, but I love him. I'm willing to fix things if he is. Really? Came a soft voice. Melissa turned in surprise to see Keith, eyes still shut, but lips twisted into a smile. Keith, she cried. I'm fine, he muttered. I also want our relationship to be okay. Melissa laughed through her tears and hugged him tightly. I thought you were leaving me. You risked your life too much. Grandpa, Keith said with a teasing grin, could you bring out our marriage contract? Don Gerard grinned back and signaled to a maid. A marriage contract? Melissa echoed, staring at Keith. But I never said. Ow! Keith whined. My side hurts. I can't breathe unless Melissa signs. Give me a pen, Melissa yelled, tears still in her eyes. Keith chuckled, taking her hand and kissing it. Let's start over, he whispered. Melissa, still teary, nodded. Yes, Keith. At last, Keith said. The end.